Hey Bobcat fans, welcome back to Dear Montana State, a video series dedicated to conversations with you, the fans. I'm Bethany Cordell, Associate Athletic Director at Montana State, and I'm joined today with Daniel Jones, our head coach of our Bobcat volleyball team. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing well. It's another beautiful day in Bozeman. You can't beat it when the skies are blue and the sun's shining.
There's a reason why we all use the hashtag No Bad Days in Bozeman. It's been absolutely gorgeous lately.
Yeah, no, that is so true. I mean, this is the time of year that really makes it Bozeman just such a special place. There's no better place on earth with days like this.
So, Coach, I like to start our videos with this checking in. How are you? How's the Jones family? How are you guys hanging in there?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're doing well. My wife Lacey has just got done working out. She's found an online kind of workout system she's doing, and our oldest child, Adley, is 6 years old, so she's in kindergarten. So she's, the schooling's not too intense, but still probably got an hour a day that we're doing homeschooling. And then we've got a 4 and a 2-year-old. So that's more like herding cats with those two, but we're doing well. And I tell you what, early on in this whole quarantine thing, when the weather was iffy, we had a couple of days of snow there, I think in early April. We're praying for good weather, but now the good weather's here. It's, we're out riding bikes. We got the kids a trampoline. That was the one thing that we've done this quarantine is we bought a trampoline, and so that we know that we can send the kids outside and they can go burn some energy. But other than that, we're all healthy and happy, and everyone's doing well.
Well, that's great to hear. I can see some of your artwork in the background.
They're decorating my home office for me.
Love it. So switching gears a little bit to your other family, your student athletes, how have the girls adjusted to working on school, staying in shape, et cetera, everything remotely?
Yeah, I think it's been interesting. Montana State as an institution, we had an interesting run in, as everyone is well aware, to this whole shutdown where, we had the Easter break. I was going to say Thanksgiving break, but we're at Easter break. And, so our student athletes, the volleyball players, all went home for Easter break. There was talk about, hey, do we need to be concerned about not coming back? And my approach to this with the team is, hey, we can only act on the information we have in front of us today. And so when we broke for Easter break, they went home with the anticipation of coming back. And of course, mid-Easter break, you see the basketball tournament get shut down, and just things unfolded there pretty quickly. And our team all stayed at home, and flurry of WebEx, Zoom, FaceTime calls went around. And, it's one of those things where I truly believe one of the great benefits of being a student athlete is you build resilience through the experiences you have as a student athlete. And when you have these experiences like we're all going through right now, I think student athletes have a slight advantage because they have that inbuilt resilience from the challenges they face on a daily basis. And so I've been really proud about the way the team has responded, the way they've handled all the challenges. Their goal is to get better every day. We talk about commitment being doing everything we can to be the best we can be. And they're doing everything they can to be the best they can be right now. And that's all I can ask for them. And, just so proud of all 12 of the returners and 4 of the incoming freshmen. It's been a really challenging time, but everyone's doing well. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's doing everything they can to be prepared for the moment that we're allowed back in.
I think a lot of the focus has been at the start of this was, like you mentioned, the ending of the basketball tournament, spring sports getting canceled, et cetera. I think a piece that hasn't been mentioned as much is our fall sports that also have a spring season, volleyball being one of them. So talk about the impact of not having your typical spring season on your program.
Yeah, the spring is critical for volleyball in that it prepares us for the fall. We do a lot of strength and conditioning work with Alex Jardine in the weight room. And he does a phenomenal job at laying down a year-long 12-month plan to prepare our athletes to peak in November. And, so I think that's an element that we've all got some, hey, how's this going to play out now? How are our athletes going to be, when they get back on campus? And then you add into the skill development aspect. I mean, volleyball is in a similar spot to football, where we start practicing 2 weeks before we start competing. So we have 2 weeks in the fall to kind of establish, hey, we need to adjust this from a technical standpoint. We need to elaborate on this from our tactical understanding. And so you're drinking from a fire hose at that time. And that's where the spring becomes critical, because you're trying to make a lot of technical adjustments. You're trying to make a lot of tactical advancements as a program. And we probably got, I would say, a third, maybe a halfway through our spring season. And so we probably laid the foundation for half of what we wanted to from a tactical and technical standpoint. So, you know, it is what it is, though. You know, I think, you know, we've been able to do film review. We've been able to, you know, continue to teach from a tactical standpoint. Very little we can do from a technical standpoint right now, but you know, it's one of those things. Again, we'll make the most of what we're given. I'll tell you that. You know, we're all fired up. We're ready to go. And as soon as they let us back in the gym, we're just going to get at it. And where we are is where we are. And you know, we've got great athletes who are doing everything they can to be prepared for that moment.
That's awesome. I know that a lot of people that I've talked to, myself included, are using this time as much as we can to focus on some things that maybe we don't always have a chance to, because you're forced to slow down. How are you using this time to maybe reevaluate the goals as a program now that you've been our head coach for a couple of years?
Yeah, you know, I'm really solid on the goals of the program. I think I'm looking at more ways to achieve those goals. It's like, how do we expand our horizons? How do we create more of a complete teaching and learning environment for our student athletes to grow in this game? So we've had a lot of calls as a group about the culture of the program, and we're really happy with the culture of the program, but how do we continue to advance it and make it better? We've had lots of conversations about, you know, how do we train our athletes better? You know, what are we doing from a film standpoint that we can increase the learning process? Because ultimately, I think, you know, as we match up athlete to athlete around the conference and even around the region and country for a large degree, we match up really well from an athlete standpoint. We get great athletes here at Montana State. The challenge we have is how do we get an advantage by accelerating our learning and growth process? And so that's really been the focus of my mind is how do we accelerate that learning and growing? And, you know, I think the additional parts to the job that I haven't maybe given as much attention, lots of attention with our Side Out Club and being able to reach out to Side Out Club members, check in with them, see how they're doing. Lots of attention with our alumni and being able to send out, you know, care packages and just reach out and reconnect, you know. So I think there's a couple of elements there, but I don't know. It's funny. We were talking before we started recording about how these days it's like, oh, you're working from home. Surely you're not in the gym, so there's not as much to do. Honestly, my days are taken up with probably between 6 and 9 hours of phone calls every day.
Absolutely.
And then, so it's still, you know, grinding away, trying to make the program better. And just as I feel like everyone here is at Montana State, everyone's trying to make their program better, the department better, you know, and the university better. And that's where it's such a special place to work because, you know, everyone's pushing in the same direction.
You mentioned how your goals are pretty solidified as a program. And, you know, Cole, one of your assistants, is a dear friend of mine. And I don't know if I have ever had a conversation with him where he doesn't work in, hey, we're winning a Big Sky Conference championship in the next year or two. And so I am personally looking forward to that coming to fruition.
Yeah, we're constantly saying we're going to hang banners and get rings. That's our goal. There's no doubt about it.
That's the goal that we all have at this point. So talking about Cole, talking about you made a hire in the off season of Carly. So now you have a complete staff that you didn't last year. And I don't know Carly super well yet, but I know the three of you bring very different assets to your coaching styles and to the program. Talk to me about what you're looking forward to with the three of you working together.
Yeah, I think what I'm most looking forward to, you know, we were talking about this just the other day as a staff where we really had Carly arrived the 1st of February. Had most of February, most of March, and then kind of end of March, early April. I mean, what was the date we got kicked out of the?
Gosh, mid-March.
Mid-March. So maybe we've had a month and a half together as coaching staff. And I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is that we have an opportunity to get to know each other. You know, and that's an opportunity we're trying to make the most of right now. But it's challenging not being able to be present with each other physically. You know, what I've seen already in the gym is Carly comes in with incredible knowledge about the game and the way she sees the game from an offensive standpoint. So excited to take Cole's strengths on the defensive side, Carly's strengths from the offensive side, and just oversee and guide and challenge us to be better in each area, you know.
Now, Coach, last big question before I'll get into a couple little heavy hitters. I don't know if I've ever heard
Okay.
you give a speech without mentioning Lacey and how much she does for your family and the
Oh yeah.
gratitude you have for her, which I think is incredible. Now that you've been home day in and out the last couple of weeks and months, do you have anything that you want to add in appreciation to really anyone
I
who's at home with kids?
Yeah, look, I'm a firm believer that mothers and any stay-at-home parent, whether it's a mother or father, man, they need pedestals that they get to be put up on and just worshipped in a lot of ways. Because I tell you, I sit here, I've set up a little home office in our guest bedroom, and I hear the kids, crying at times. I hear the kids laughing at times. I hear the, yelling at times, and it's like, man, do I need to step out and help? And early on, I would step out and help. And Lacey's like, no, this is a normal day. Like, I got this. And I'm like, holy, how do you do this on the daily? And, she's not able to take the kids to the store right now. So there's times, where I'm by myself for an hour or two with the kids, and it's always fun. But I'm also like, just a sense of appreciation for what she does to enable me to do what I do. And I think that's the thing. Any coach worth their salt is going to tell you they have someone behind them who's pushing them, driving them, allowing them to be great in their area. And there's no doubt that Lacey does that for me. And it's brought around some challenges for us, like it has for everybody. But I'm so appreciative of the love and the care that we have in our relationship and our home that allows me to do what I do and extend that love and care to our team and welcome them into our family as much as anything.
Oh, I love that. Good answer, Coach.
Oh, you're nice.
Okay, last couple of questions. What is the most recent movie you watched?
Most recent? Oh, we watched Star Wars. It was the first one. On Saturday night. We started to watch the Star Wars series from the first one. So, what was the first one called? It had Jar Jar Binks in it and the pod racing. I forget what it's called, but that's the most recent movie we watched.
Okay. Are you cooking? Are you learning to cook a little bit more?
I really like to cook.
You do? I didn't know that about you. I learned something.
Yeah. I lived by myself by myself, in mixed accommodation from the age of 17 to 33, 34. So I had to cook. And so I really like to cook. Lacey doesn't really let me cook. That's one of the things. She's like, no, you provide for the family by doing this, and I'll provide for the family by doing this. So I've been hitting the grilled cheese sandwiches with the kids pretty good, but that's probably about the extent of my cooking over this break.
Okay. Last question. What is the first Bozeman restaurant that you're going to stop by?
Oh, I am weighing up. Big fan of Sidewinders. We've had Sidewinders takeaway a couple of times. The other one I'm really wanting to get into is Hail Mary's down at Rockin' Arbor.
Yeah.
I just think Mike does such a good job with his whole establishment, and he does such a good job supporting us that I just want to reach out down there and do something down there with him and thank him for what he does for MSU Bobcats. Because it's honestly, without the support we get from our community, I don't know, I'm turning this into way more of an answer than you want, but without the support from our community, we just can't do what we do. And Mike Hope down there at the Rockin' Arbor just does a phenomenal job at supporting our whole department. Every program, he's just a phenomenal asset. And so anything we can do to get out and support our local communities, I'm all about. So it's good.
I appreciate that. I actually had lunch at the R-Bar yesterday. It was delicious. It was
there you go.
First establishment on the list once they started opening back up. But I'm also going to give us a little plug to a list at msubobcats.com of all of our Bobcat businesses that are open either for delivery, takeout, or starting to open now for seating. So thank you for leading me right into that little plug, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, look, I think like I'm conscious of something I've talked to Cole and Carly about already, is that when it comes to us like doing our pregame meals when we're in town, I think we've got to be really deliberate about where we take our business to support the businesses that support us. Because I think we have a really unique opportunity where we can walk in and order a meal for 20 people, and that just helps the local community, and then we spin off each other at that point. So I'm all about it. I'm all about Bozeman. I'm all about supporting who we can and how we can, and love this school, love this town, love this state. So it's a good thing.
I can't think of a better way to end this video than that. So thank you so much for your time, Coach. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Bobcat fans, for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next one. Go Cats!
Go Cats!